Welcome to The Firing Line. The Firing Line radio show is brought to you by Bullseye Sports in Riverside, the Riverside Indoor Shooting Range, CCW Safe, Maupin Financial Advisors, Cutting Edge Bullets for when you care enough to send the very best, Prado Olympic Shooting Park in Chino, and Vortex Optics, Vortex, the force of optics. And now your host, Philip Naiman.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining.
Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Firing Line radio show. And you guessed it, folks, it's the Rex Reviews crew taking over Philip Naiman's show once again. It's Lou McCoy, Casey Day, and the legendary TiborasaurusRex joining you for another radio extravaganza. How are you guys?
Excellent extravaganza it is.
It is. I'm doing really well. I'm gearing up for Christmas. I can't wait.
It's right around the corner, guys.
Is it?
Pretty sure. Unless we're here on the wrong day.
Is it after Christmas or is it before Christmas?
Well, this is crucial information.
Yeah, I don't know.
We might cut
I've
that
lost
out.
track of time.
Does it matter? What really matters is the Christmas spirit, man. And that's what the heart of the whole season comes down to, the Christmas spirit. And that's why we're here, because we got to spread some of that feel-good Christmas joy.
Oh, dear.
I have all the joy for Christmas.
Casey is in charge of the Christmas joy. I'm Ebenezer Scrooge, brother. I've come here with malintent. Actually, I'm feeling a little mischievous, Lou.
Are you now?
Yeah, we've got control of Philip's show again. And I've seen some mischievous elves lately. Have you seen the elf, Casey?
The elf on the shelf?
No, the mischievous elf.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah, anyways, I've seen a mischievous elf lately. And so I was thinking that, in the spirit of the local heathen traditions, that we could maybe wreck this radio show while Philip Naiman is gone.
Boy.
I mean, we sent him
is
off
that not
in a
right?
Christmas present, didn't we? We sent him out to Santa?
I don't know. It depends on what version of elves you subscribe to, actually, because there's the Hallmark version of all the different characters according to the holiday. And then there are the ancient versions. And so I don't know, maybe I read too many books when I was little or something, but elves to me are mischievous. They're not trying to dispense presents, are they, Lou?
Depends on which legends you grew up with, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
So mischievous elves, I'm not familiar with those.
You don't remember this?
No.
I never showed you the mischievous elf.
I always grew up with the Hallmark version, the little guys that were Santa's helpers. They had the little hats. They worked in his sweatshop all year round, or his workshop, excuse me, and would bring the Christmas presents to all the good little boys and girls once a year.
Well, I'll have to tell you about the mischievous elf when we get on to the Rex Reviews podcast, because it's a little too scary for public airwaves.
Okay.
So we'll have to save that one for the internet. However, in the spirit of being mischievous anyways, I think that I would like to battle test this situation. You know, we're in California after all, and this is the 5:90 a.m., right? Blasting out across the whole big valley area. And I'm just curious what level of freedom this country still has. I want to battle test our freedom of speech rights on this radio show. Now, the sound guy who's sitting back here producing this deal is getting a little nervous, isn't he? Look at him.
He's sweating back there.
He is. He's like, what are these cuckoos going to say? He's getting ready to cut us off already.
I see his hand over the dump button back there.
This is totally unscripted. Nobody knows what's about to happen. So I'm excited about this. You ready for this one, Lou?
Lay it on us, buddy.
All right. So there's all different kinds of things that people aren't allowed to say anymore because they get banned on Facebook, or they get banned on YouTube if they step on someone's little precious toes. Or if they don't, if you say anything bad about mommy, aka the government, then you get banned off of all social media. Or if you're acting a little bit too much of a Y chromosome, that's evil, even though it's invented by nature or God, whichever one you want to call it. So with that being said, I'm just curious how much we can get away with on the air before they shut her down.
So where and how far do you want to push this today?
I don't know, man. There's a number of things we could talk about on this show today.
It's kind of dangerous when Phil leaves us in charge, isn't it?
Yes. I'm planning on dangerous. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
She's ready? Look at her. She's nervous. You want to play a game, Lou?
That's why I'm here.
It's called Rex Makes Radical Statements, and then we pause to see if we're still on the air.
Okay, let's play.
You ready for this? All right, I'm ready.
What's first?
Guys, I really like Jesus.
How much do you like Jesus?
I love Jesus, actually.
That is the...
Did we get kicked off yet?
That's the point of the holiday spirit, isn't it? With the J-Man?
The point of the holiday spirit, I thought, was Walmart sales receipts.
Oh.
But no. So that's one. We're still on the air. I don't see him flip the switch yet.
Not yet.
Well, how about this one? You ready for this? I like freedom.
Like what kind of freedom exactly?
I'm not talking like a bald eagle latched down to my shoulder. I'm talking about like I can peruse the earth and say anything I want, no matter how much people are offended by it.
Whoa,
And-
Rex.
yeah?
Rex, just saying that might actually offend someone. You
Someone's
might
already
wanna
getting pre-offended.
back it up.
Is that his thing? Yeah.
I'm literally seeing snow melt around us.
Yeah, they'll be okay. The little snowflakes will be all right.
Pre-offended. I like that. I think we're still on though, guys.
Yeah. How about I really like firearms too, man. How about you?
I do.
And I think that if you don't have firearms and you don't know how to run them, you're not American.
Oh boy.
Oh, how about them apples?
Whoa.
Was that the eggnog kicking in right there? Is that what they call that stuff they fed us earlier?
That's interesting because the First and the Second Amendment, they're right next to each other.
Yeah, for a reason.
Yeah, they put them number 1 and number 2
So that we can talk about guns on the radio station
freely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so far, so good. And that's one of the nice thing about firearms, too, is it preserves that first part. Because if they get a little too wily with their freedom pinching down mechanisms, then out comes the other amendments to protect that one. So, and that's a little bit radical. Are we still on there?
I think so.
No, it's a culture of freedom that's becoming slowly illegal, though, and it's interesting and they do it incrementally. It's the frog being boiled in the water slowly, and there's a lot of guys who are outspoken who are getting completely kicked off of social media. And it started in the crybaby universities where people were acting like toddlers and they couldn't handle it, and so they started crying and throwing fits like little babies, and so they first banned speech there because that's private property. And if you want to give your money to an organization that has like zero respect for actual, freedom of speech or whatever, then you can choose to go there or not. But when we're talking about public, airwaves or like public commons, as internet is commonly advertised to be, like in terms of YouTube or Facebook, that's advertised to be like public commons, right? Mm-hmm. And so they get all kinds of exemptions and things like that based on that statement. But then when they start editing everyone's comments and shutting down people's channels and stuff like that, then they say, oh no, it's a private organization. Well, then how come you get all these tax breaks for being public, you said, but then you're still pinching down on it? So you can't ride two horses at the same time, like they say from where we come from.
Well, and not only that, but if they're going to have like the public's interest at mind, why is it that only certain comments and certain people are edited, but other ones that are radical and crazy in a different way that fits maybe a more broad agenda is left untouched?
They've chosen a side is the straightforward answer.
There's somebody back there pulling the strings, man. Making decisions,
totally.
Controlling the narrative.
Well, they have picked a side, so their side is obvious, and it's not on our side. It's on the other side. So they are trying like hell to find a way to shut us completely down and edit what we have to say.
Right. I just wanted to give like a brief example. Is like I've seen videos where literally someone is being burned alive. That's allowed on Facebook, but a video about maybe talking about gun ownership or gun rights has been banned. So I just think that is radically
offensive to advertisers, right? Mm-hmm. What kind of advertisers are we talking about?
Exactly.
Are we talking about advertisers from a certain peninsula over the water where they wear certain things and ride certain animals? Now are we banned, Lou? Did I get banned yet?
This whole thing kind of plays into that, like we talked about on our podcast, the Hegelian dialectic, dividing the two sides.
Yes.
And we are this close to buying into that right here because we're saying that the puppet masters are behind the other side. We're buying into that.
Luring us into a conflict.
We're buying into that. So I'm going to propose that in the spirit of the Christmas season, perhaps we do away with the walls and the lines in the sand and we try to get everybody on the same page.
Focus on principles in general, on the atomic level, without taking sides. in terms of identity, group identity, religious identity, political identity, or philosophical identity, but rather focusing in on just independent issues and different topics. There ain't no reason why we can't visit with anyone else, is there?
Amen, man. And if we break out of those molds and we don't let them put us into those boxes, suddenly we're not so easy to control and maneuver around.
All right, I adjusted my attitude a little bit. I'm sorry.
You're not feeling so mischievous anymore?
I'm still mischievous. I still want to see if we get kicked off the radio, but
we'll see what happens here, folks.
Yeah.
But we should just try to come together in the spirit of the Christmas season. Usually I'm the Grinch, but for some reason this year I'm feeling it, man. I don't know if the three ghosts visited me last night or what, but
the three ghosts.
I'm feeling
Charles
it, man.
Dickens, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
The Christmas spirit.
Which is your favorite of the three ghosts?
They're all good in their own right.
I like the ghost of the present or whatever, because he's the fat guy who's sitting on the pile of food. And I totally understand that point of aim, too.
Yeah. It teaches you something about yourself.
It does.
We're going to take a quick break and be back with more of a very special Christmas edition of the Firing Line Radio Show. Stick around.
And now, a quick word from TiborasaurusRex.
Hey guys, Rex here. It's awesome to have you listening to the podcast. Be sure to share it. A lot of people don't even know what a podcast is. You might have to explain it to them or send them a link or help them on the computer. I know my old man sure don't know what the hell a podcast is. Definitely share this, help us grow, and spread the message. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and be advised that future training events will be advertised via our newsletter. Please sign up for the newsletter on www.rexreviews.org. It's free, and we will keep you up to speed with any awesome training events we do in the future. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Back to the show.
The Jesus that we celebrate was much more than a man.
Hey folks, welcome back to Firing Line Radio Show. Now our sponsor, Vince Torres of Bullseye Sports Guns and Ammo, wants to thank the many families who were able to help purchase a firearm to protect their home this past year. Now before you shop for personal protection firearm, I encourage you to go down to Bullseye Sports in Riverside and speak with Vince, the owner, or one of the many good people at the store, and you'll receive a welcome and an educational experience to make you feel confident and comfortable with a firearm purchase. Bullseye Sport wishes you and your family a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and a safe holiday season. Give the gift of protection with a stocking stuffer from Bullseye Sport. Gift certificates can be purchased in custom amounts for your custom giving. Bullseye Sports Guns and Ammo in Riverside, where the Inland Empire gets their guns and ammo. Thank you, Vince, for all of your support on that, and a Merry Christmas to you, too.
Welcome back to the Firing Line Radio Show. It's Lou McCoy, Casey Day, and TiborasaurusRex in for Mr. Philip Naiman. The Rex Reviews podcast crew taking over the radio station once again. And big thank you to Philip for letting us do this. It's always a good time. And until they throw us off the air, we're going to keep coming back and doing it, guys. So
I actually do like the weather down here. It's freaking perfect.
Oh, especially during Christmas, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
It's hard to believe. If you haven't heard of our show before, we do a podcast. You can check it out on rexreviews.org, and it kind of spawned from Rex's YouTube channel back in the day. And you've got, I don't know, years and years of content on there, man.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of tutorial videos on long-range shooting and stuff. You can look those up, the Long Range 101, or some people call them the Sniper 101 videos. And we got all kinds of reviews on high-end equipment, Tier 1 optics. We kind of became the de facto guys on optics questions, I guess. So we actually got some questions in, don't we, Lou?
And we get a lot of questions every day in our email, and we try to hash them out through the podcast and on our forums on rexreviews.org. But the questions, they never stop. There's so many scopes out there for so many different applications. And
that's an important part of the equation, too. You got to get the exact right scope for what you're trying to do. In fact, that's the critical component most people don't realize. They think they need, for a long-range setup especially, they concentrate. There's an overemphasis on the rifle or even the caliber, and the scope is neglected. That is the instrument which actually brings you on target when you index those turrets or use a reticle for hold-off. So it's got to be configured properly, and it has to work.
So, to share a little bit of what we do on the podcast with you folks today here on the Firing Line Radio Show, we're going to take a question or two, whatever we've got time for today. One of them that we got in from Travis via our email on rexreviews.org is, "Hello, Rex."
Hi. Oh, sorry.
I was thinking of buying a long-range scope. I wanted to know your thoughts on the Attacker, or ATACR.
Yeah.
The F1 5-25 by 56 from Night Force, or the Bushnell DRM 6-21 by 50. Please help.
Okay, if that's your two options, I would definitely myself lean towards the Night Force. The ATACR is a pretty good scope. It's made in Light Optic Works in Japan. It's got very, very reliable turret tracking, which is the primary criteria you need to get on target at long range, really. It's a first focal plane reticle. It's configured nicely. If you're a real snob, it doesn't quite hold a candle to some of the Tier 1 German optics for some various reasons, but it's probably the second nicest Night Force you can get, in my opinion, for long-range shooting applications. It's going to definitely be a lot better than the other choice.
You bet. What's the best Night Force out there?
The Beast has actually performed a little better under some of the testing they've done in terms of getting to be used by military service guys. Mm-hmm. And so it's passed more of the tests. There were some issues with the ocular on the ATACR, but they're still a great scope. The tracking is going to be reliable, and that's the main thing you got to look at. A lot of guys overemphasize even glass quality or clarity. And any of these scopes are going to be clear enough. You just need the tracking to be reliable, and it has to track with precision. And these scopes they have enough quality control in place to where they actually work very well.
Excellent. Thanks for writing in, Travis. I think we've got time for one more today. This one is from Scott, and he's wondering about Schmidt and Benders. Speaking of that quality German stuff, he says, "Dear Rex and company, greetings from Scotland." Really?
Aye.
Do I have to read this in an accent then?
Yeah, I don't want to. I actually like Scottish people, so I won't pretend to speak Scottish. I'm sorry.
He says that he really enjoys the YouTube channel and the podcasts, especially the recent podcast where we talked about the EMP stuff. He's got a few deer hunted for a couple years, but he's new to target shooting. There are a couple of 1,000-yard ranges in Scotland. I'm thinking about a Tikka T3 TAC A1 in 6.5 Creedmoor.
Nice rifle, nice cartridge, yep.
Yes, sir. Was wondering if a fixed power Schmidt & Bender 10-42 PM2 would be a suitable optics choice.
That's an incredible optic, and a 6.5 Creedmoor is going to get you very comfortably out to 1,000 yards without a problem, or 1,000 meters. Whichever one. It'll actually go a little bit farther than that. But a Schmidt Bender PM2 and his fixed 10 is a very, very rugged scope. Very high quality, and it's actually kind of affordable when you compare it to the variable power PM2s. Really, if you've got good enough glass, you can reach out to a good solid 1,000 meters with 10 power, no problem. I've actually shot, out to 1,500 meters without a problem with the 10 power fixed scope.
Really?
If you can see what you're shooting at, that's the main thing. A lot of guys like to get zoomed in real far. There's an overemphasis sometimes on magnification. It's really in how you drive the rifle. It's on skill set and having the proper marksmanship. It's not really, your performance is not going to be contingent on magnification. That being said, a fixed power, 10 power Schmidt & Bender is a very nice scope, and that's actually something I would choose for like a battle scope for a long range duty rifle. But for target shooting out to 1,000 meters, absolutely no problem. That's probably the finest choice you could have in terms of a fixed power optic. And yep.
He also says that he's probably going to be shooting out to about 500 yards most of the time.
Oh, perfect then. Yep.
Maybe occasionally out to 1,000, but he likes the simplicity of the fixed power.
I do too, and I think that's a great choice, especially if you're from 100 to 1,000 and you have to have a fixed power optic. A straight 10 is the best way to go. The Schmidt & Bender is the nicest one of those in the world. They have the Wetzlar 5-piece mechanism in the turret tracking adjustments, so the tracking is 100% perfect. Pretty much every time we've ever tested them. And when we run them at the classes that we do, the RX-18 shooting classes, they really, really keep up. I mean, they're right on in terms of tracking precision and reliability. And so that's the best choice he could have probably said.
Nice. You can't go wrong with Schmidt & Bender.
Sorry, Rex. I just had a quick question because I know there's going to be a lot of listeners that might just be getting into long-range shooting out there. What would be your number one optic that you would choose for somebody that is just getting started? They don't have a large budget. What is the most affordable, best optic for them?
Oh, dear. You're going to force me back in a corner I don't like going into. It really depends on exactly what you're trying to do. But if you're on a very, very strict budget, I think that you can get into a good fixed power, like a straight 10 or a straight 12 power optic made by SWFA, the Super Sniper series actually does a good job. They're like $300. There's no need to get the higher dollared ones because, in my opinion, when you get into those price ranges, there's other scopes that are a lot better. But if you plan on using the turrets for indexing in your firing solutions at long range, the SWFA is still probably one of the better ones out there. There's a few more. If you prefer using a reticle, a grid pattern reticle, I really like Primary Arms. They have some nice scopes, and they're actually pretty affordable, and they have more features. They have variable power usually, and they have like there's a new reticle called the BPR that's coming out pretty soon, and they got some different grid style. The R Grid 2, I think, is coming out, but those are very good too, and you don't have to worry about the turrets at that point because it's all done properly in the reticle. And not every reticle is done the same. They have to be calibrated correctly, and so that's the reason I do like Primary Arms over some of the competitors. Is the engineers who do the optics actually check that to make sure it's perfect.
And laser etch them, right?
Yeah, it's laser etched, but the math is done right, and they're verified when they come back from the factories.
You bet. Good questions there, guys. And we've got a very rich community full of all of those questions and many more. We've got forums on rexreviews.org and just an awesome community that works together, loves each other, and helps each other out with all of that information and trying to make sense of it all.
And if you peruse through the website, rexreviews.org, you will find a lot of discussions on optics. That's a very common question we get also on different rifle configurations, ammo, all kinds of crazy stuff. Lots of fun we have on the questions and answers portion of the show. So check it out.
We have lots of fun with everything that we do, whether it's scripted or unscripted, or it really doesn't matter. We have a good time, guys.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line, is having fun. And if you want to join in some of our fun festivities, we're actually going to be back in California in February, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Rancho Cucamonga at the Bass Pro Shops. It's going to be pretty fun. We had a great time last time. A lot of really high-speed guys made it there. A lot of engineers. And you learn as much from the people who come there as you do from the class, probably. Mm-hmm. But we do a very good high-speed seminar that gives you a bird's-eye view of everything to do with long-range shooting, equipment selection, marksmanship, strategy, data organization. We go into ridiculous level detail that's not offered really probably anywhere, is what I've been told anyways.
That seems to be the general consensus.
Yeah, I think we're like the nerds of that category. So if you like long range shooting, man, you're going to really like this seminar at Rancho Cucamonga. That also gets you in. Then you are pre-qualified for the live fire event that's coming up in March. So that'd be awesome to see you there. President's Day weekend in February 2018.
Mark your calendars and stick around. We're coming back with more of the Firing Line Radio Show right after this.
This portion of the Firing Line is brought to you by the Riverside Indoor Shooting Range and CCW Safe.
It came upon a midnight gleam, that glorious song of
Welcome back to the Firing Line Radio Show. It's Lou McCoy, TiborasaurusRex, and Casey Day, the Rex Reviews podcast crew, in for Mr. Philip Naiman once again for a very special holiday edition of the Firing Line Radio Show.
Yeah, speaking of holidays, man, elves are often attached to them. During the break, we were talking about the elf. So Casey is getting very curious about which exact elf we're talking about. Because they know some of the backstory to that, dude. Maybe. But at any rate, Rex went for meetings, and they have certain kinds of elves down there that I'm not used to, being from the north, where there's not a lot of population. It's very old school, 50 years behind culturally, but they have like certain kinds of elves down there that I was like, oh, what the heck is this deal?
What kind, like dude, stocking stuffers or what? What are we talking about?
No, like an actual real elf, like a human.
Okay.
Yeah, like a female kind.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. And I already told you the name of the town, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we'll talk about that on the Rex Reviews podcast. I don't want to actually get Philip's show banned from the air, but it's pretty scary.
Oh, man.
But they're very mischievous. Let's just put it like that.
And persuasive, from what I hear.
Well, no, I passed the test fine. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but nah, it'll be all right.
That just shows how old school we are up here, when you can be
actually
solicited and not even realize it.
Yeah.
You're such a gentleman, though, Rex.
I tried to be a gentleman. Gets me in trouble down there, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I won, though, so.
So,
sorry, guys.
In the spirit of Christmas and the holiday season, however, what do you guys want for Christmas?
All right, Casey, you're up, sister.
Me? Gosh. If I could get, like, speaking rifles specifically, if I could get, like, okay, so Axial Precision, I like them a lot. I actually really like 308. I know you can't shoot out as far with a 308, but I really like it. So I would say I do like an Axial Precision 308
Interesting.
with like a Schmidt & Bender scope on top.
Are you listening, Drew, up in Idaho?
Hey, Drew. I
For
like
those
your
of you
guys'
that don't know what she's talking about, Axial Precision has a bunch of really, really interesting rifles. They do a rifle that's like, it's kind of new technology. Axial Precision has mastered perfecting the Remington 700 style design, but it's not a Remington 700 by a long shot. The lockup mechanism is different. The way that the barrel is attached to receiver is totally proprietary. And what it does is it actually aligns the bore with the entire receiver and everything else, with the cartridge and the chamber, and even the firing pin spring is redesigned so it doesn't snake up. So it's a very interesting rifle, but the end result is very, very, very precise. It's a good rifle.
It's like a laser beam.
Yeah, they put them on the same hole. And we talk about the details of internal ballistics and all the stuff that has to be perfect in terms of the chamber alignment with the bore and all the threading and all the different metal expansions and all the different stuff that's got to be perfect in the rifle. Like at the seminar, we talk about that in great detail, or even on the Sniper 101 series that we have on YouTube, we talk about internal ballistics and how that really plays out, launching that cartridge that you started with. But yeah, Casey, she ran that 308 really good at the last class, actually. And kind of what a lot of people in the competitive world would consider to be like a disadvantage because most guys are running 6.5s and more high-speed cartridges. But we also talk a lot about on the show and at the seminars and everything else too, like logistical compatibility concerns of cartridges. And having the 308 is actually nice in a lot of ways, because if, God forbid, the collapse of Western civilization occurred, there's going to be 308 ammo everywhere. And so you'll still be able to run your precision rifle with the ammo. And if you're well versed in how to drive that thing, it's going to be a lot easier to find ammo than maybe some match ammo. And also the cartridge dynamics of 308 give you more forgiveness in terms of throat erosion. You can run them hot. You can just ram them through there at high speed without any kind of penalty, as compared to other cartridges that have more of an overbore configuration where you have more flamage. There's a technical term, Lou.
Barrel flamage, right?
Yeah, barrel flamage, where you have more, heat channeling through that throat region of the bore, which causes an accelerated erosion on the microstructure of the bore, which embrittles the steel and ends up in being detrimental to accuracy. So a 308's a good choice.
Very nice.
How about you, Lulu?
What about me?
Yeah, what do you want for your holiday there?
Just world peace, man. That's
Look
all
at
I
him.
want.
That's so cliche.
Just peace
He's
on
lying.
earth. I just want everybody to sit in a circle, hold hands, and say,
Actually, I don't
"Kumbaya."
think Lou is lying. He's
And
serious.
a rocket launcher.
And a RPG 7 or what? Hook us up.
Just for anybody who doesn't want world peace.
That's
In case you're not part of my team, I'd
So,
also like a rocket.
if you deliver world peace, that'd be great. But if that's not going to be delivered, then I'll need an RPG 7 so I can live.
What do you call that? Mutually assured
Destruction.
celebration.
Yeah, okay.
If we're talking about ideal setups for precision rifles, though, it depends on the application, man. If we're talking about something a little smaller where you'd want to have it versatile, the 6.5 Creedmoors, I think, are really cool.
You like those? Yeah, they're good. They're a good cartridge, man. They're efficient.
They're versatile, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if we were talking something bigger, like if there was, I don't know, somebody out there with an RPG coming after me, I'd want something, I don't know, like a 50 cal or something, man.
There you go, like an M107.
Yeah.
I was thinking that's probably the next one on my list. Now, I don't think Californians are allowed to have that stuff, Lou.
Are you serious?
No, I think it's actually, they have politicians down here We met some of them at the last seminar up on the wall at the Bass Pro Shops.
I remember.
One of them is a wildebeest. The other one was a wild boar. And we named them all at the seminar. We had too much fun. I'm sure that the observers that were there for political reasons were writing many notes that day. Dude, it had a laser pointer, and I'm like, okay, where is she? Where's Nancy? And everyone points at the boar, dude. I'm like, are you serious? I'm gonna get executed while I'm down here, bro. True story. We had way too much fun. Pretty sure dude, are we still in the air? Did they cut us off?
No, we're good, man.
Oh, no, the sound guy's still back there. He's still cool with this.
50 cows in California. Are you serious there?
Yeah, they banned them like a long time ago.
Is that like a cartridge limit there?
Is there a cutoff? They thought people are going to shoot down airplanes with them or something because the politicians are a little bit silly. I won't complete the word I almost said because that is actually offensive. And it's too nice to the politicians, too, the word I was about to say.
So really, Californians can only hope for world peace for Christmas.
Well,
they don't have the option of a rocket
fighting
launcher.
off any material targets, But no, that's why they invented like the 416 Barrett and stuff, is to have compliant versions. And so it's rough living behind enemy lines in California, man. I mean, those are some hardcore dudes that didn't escape and evade yet. They're still holding down the ground. They're still holding down the trenches. They haven't ran off and retreated yet. They're still putting up one heck of a fight down there. So I respect all the liberty-loving Californians that still do exist here. And we'd love to meet some of you guys if you can make it down in February for Rancho Cucamonga. It'd be awesome to meet you guys.
And that's the one thing that I've really found just endearing about the long range community is the quality of people that show up at these events.
Highly disciplined people,
and that are part of the community, is because everybody's not only they get a good head on their shoulders and they're intelligent, but they're also morally upstanding people, and they're there because they're patriots and they love liberty and they love freedom and they love the Second Amendment and being part of this country and what makes it so great.
Absolutely. And when I got the chance to come down there last time and visit with everybody, that was the most fun we've ever had in a class. Everyone was so thirsty for a good time, I think. And plus, they're just fun-loving dudes. It's an interesting mix when you have liberty-loving people. It's like the old school California back, from the old days. And they're not scared to have a good time at all, man.
And neither are we.
And neither are we. So we fit in there. And they're aiming to maybe regain some of the ground. And I wish them Godspeed in that endeavor. That's going to be a hell of a fight. But we're with you guys. And as long as you're fighting, we'll be fighting right alongside you. So don't be disheartened. These things can be swayed back in the other direction.
Amen, buddy. And there are a lot of patriots still out in California.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not. Of course, if you want to check out some of our fun festivities, we're going to be in California in February for President's Day, right?
Our current training schedule is on rexdefense.com. Our media site's rexreviews.org, but if you're looking to actually do training events with us, you can find the complete list on rexdefense.com.
We've got our calendar up there with current and upcoming events, and we've got all sorts of stuff all over the place, and it's really just been an awesome adventure, guys, and we look forward to you being a part of it.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break, folks, and be back with one final portion of today's show. Thanks for joining us.
This portion of the firing line is brought to you by Prado Olympic Shooting Park in Chino and Vortex Optics. Vortex, the force of optics.
Joy to the world.
Welcome back to the Firing Line Radio Show for one final portion of today's radio extravaganza. It's Lou McCoy, Casey Day, and TiborasaurusRex.
Dude, are we already done with the show almost?
Time flies when you're having fun, buddy.
I wanted to stay on longer. Maybe we'll have to take over another show after this.
It's possible.
Yeah, we'll probably pull it off.
Big thank you to Mr. Philip Naiman once again for letting us hang out with you guys.
He is a good sport.
It's always a good time coming down to California and getting out of the great white north and the winter up there, man. You come down here and you forget that snow is even a real thing.
Yeah, it's real. I'll tell you about it. We should do field trips up there with Arctic warfare training.
Ooh.
And have contests, kind of like on that show where they have to eat the gross stuff. Whoever makes it the longest out in the blizzard wins a prize.
I
like $50 maybe. I can't afford that much to watch people freeze themselves. You got to figure out how many people are going to sue you for giving them frostbite and all that and losing appendages.
Balance it all out there.
Yeah.
Of course, if you are having fun on today's show, we have a lot of fun on our podcast show on rexreviews.org. And we've got, almost 20 episodes up now?
Yeah,
we've got 18 or 19 now. And it's like 50 or 60 hours worth of content. And we've got guests. We travel. We have more fun than any podcast show ever. That's my personal guarantee.
Meow.
Don't you start,
That's
Rexy.
proof. That's part. Okay, I won't start the animal sounds. We'll save that for later.
But yeah, we have an awesome time on there. And if you want to check out our shows, check out rexreviews.org or our YouTube channel. We've got lots of content on there.
Yeah, just type in Rex Reviews on the search engine. You'll find it.
Or TiborasaurusRex.
Yeah, that's the actual name of the tent. No one's going to type that, though. I don't even know how to spell it. I have to do it at slow motion. If I would have known anyone would ever watch that channel, I would have picked something easier to spell.
Yeah, abbreviated.
Just type in Rex Reviews or Sniper 101 or something like that, and you'll find the channel. It's the fun channel.
Yes, sir. You guys also do live streams on there.
Yeah, we do, man. We had some good live streams lately. We get on there. We finally figured out how to, what do you call those things, Casey? Computer codes, URLs. What are them things? How you do a live stream?
You just hit the live button.
No. What's that thing called?
The webcam.
Yeah, the webcam. I'm a dinosaur, bro. I don't know anything about technology. That's why these guys are here to help walk me through the valley of the shadow of technology. And anyways, here we are.
She's the webmaster, dude.
I'm amazed that our voice can be compressed into zeros and ones and broadcast across the universe.
Technology.
It is amazing.
So, where were we going with this?
I don't remember.
Live streams, right?
Well, one of our recent live streams, we had Trom on there. Do you want to tell them about the
Trom.
craziness that they're doing with bullets?
Yeah, so there's an outfit out of Idaho called Trom, Trom, and they're trom.tech, I think, online. And they're experimenting with some proprietary bullet designs, which is very interesting to me. Right now, they have several different proprietary cartridges that are very interesting. Stuff that's like on a 308 size package that's necked out to very large calibers. That's like extreme range target interdiction on an AR-10 platform.
Really?
Yeah. But with some of the other things they got going on, this maybe more ubiquitous for normal people would be like the 300 blackout ammo they produce and some of the 308 ammo they produce. Very interesting. They've shortened the projectiles, which typically will gyroscopically stabilize a projectile. So that's one of the advantages. The center of gravity and the center of pressure are moved closer together, so they have less of a tendency to tumble at extreme long ranges, particularly during the transonic zone of flight. So they're more gyroscopically stabilized, which gives them a better dynamic stability at long range. But shortening projectiles, typically in the past, the reason long range shooters don't like to do it is because it reduces the ballistic coefficient. Typically, longer, skinnier bullets are easier to geometrically get into shape in terms of aerodynamic, geometry. And so they've actually developed some interesting technology using some of the engineering software where you do like flow of fluids over different surfaces. And through computer technology, they actually were playing around with some of the angles. Like, for example, on the heel of the bullet or the back end, it's very, very critical. One of the major points of drag that lowers the ballistic coefficient on a projectile is the vacuum behind the bullet. That's why boat tails are conducive to better long-range performances because there's less drag in the back as opposed to a square end on the back of a bullet. But what they've done is they've done the boat tail with a very similar taper to what's experienced on other bullets, but they've tweaked the corners and the angles on their proprietary software, and they were able to actually really dramatically reduce the amount of drag behind the bullet, because it's interesting when you're doing a fluid flow. It's so infinitely complex that only supercomputers can really figure that out, if at all. And so in the modern times, they were able to drastically tweak something that no one's really tried tweaking before, and also with some of the other angles on like the gas checks and things like that, because these are solid alloy bullets, they're monolithic bullets. They're not copper jacketed around lead. They were able to get a really high BC value in a bullet that's stubbier and shorter. So the BC, the ballistic coefficient, the aerodynamic efficiency of the bullet still maintained while the bullet's shorter, so you can still fit it inside a magazine like on an AR-10 or an AR-15 style deal in a 300 blackout, right? And you get incredible long-range performance just because of the bullet. And it's also with the dynamic enhancement of stability, because it is shorter. Longer bullets are hard to stabilize because the back end wants to get in front of the front end, because that's where the mass is. And the center of pressure on the front of the bullet is something that it's an opposing force. So the back end's always trying to go in front of the first. And any induced wobble or yaw is going to cause that to happen. So it's an interesting kind of thinking outside the box, thinking, as engineers, as right-brain people, but also being artistic and really creative. They went totally outside the box on that design and kind of married the two halves of the brain together in like the perfect, interesting deal. Now, it's interesting because you can't give a G1 or a G7, those models for the drag functions don't really work on these projectiles for deriving a numerical ballistic coefficient, because these are so radically different than the G1 test projectile or the G1 that it's not going to work. But the ballistic coefficients are very high. But we have our ballistics expert, Mr. Colin Burns. He's actually a Californian local there. He's working on the project right now, deriving some of the adjustments for the mathematics on the back end. And he's actually putting on a class too. If you go on our website, rexdefense.com, ballistics expert, where he shows you how to tweak things on all the different formulas and drag functions and models. So if you're a math or a physics nerd, you probably want to hang out with Colin Burns for the ballistics deal. But it was an interesting projectile, to say the least. And it gives you some very interesting, and if you want to watch more details on that, you can watch the live stream that we did on our YouTube channel, the Rex Reviews live stream, or the TiborasaurusRex channel.
So this is new technology then, huh?
Yeah, well, it's been around for a few years, and he's been working on designs for some serious applications and other stuff that's really not really marketed or oriented towards civilians originally. But now that it's coming out on the commercial market, yes, to the commercial market, this is pretty new.
Wow.
And no, it's just interesting. And that's one of the nice things about our job, is that we explore all this new technology in this field. And it's just so cool. And that's something we like to bring people up to speed on.
Well, that's awesome stuff there, man. Proprietary, entrepreneurial, splitting the atom, teaching a old dog new tricks there.
Absolutely.
It's pretty incredible. Trauma's doing it though, huh?
Yeah. Stand by for the full video to be released at some point in the future.
Looking forward to it, man. And check out Trom Technology for more information. Of course, anybody listening out there today who is a hardcore long-range precision nerd or wants to get into it, learn more, or just fine-tune the craft, check out our website for more information about our training events, whether that's the seminars or the live fires, or it really depends just how deep you want to go down the rabbit trail, man.
Yeah, that's rexdefense.com is the new site. It has kind of the flow chart and the hierarchy of training events, but we'll be down again, man. We're going to hang out in Rancho Cucamonga one last time for the year. And so if you wanted to get your foot in the door for a live fire, the seminar is like a prerequisite to those classes. So come in. We didn't do one last event. Philip will be there too. So that's kind of where Philip and I have the relationship, as we're working on these projects in synchronization together, and we can all meet up and say howdy and visit, and it'll be an awesome time.
That is assuming Philip makes it back from the North Pole.
There are polar bears up by there, I heard.
Well,
and elves.
Did you know polar bears are like left-handed, bro?
I've heard that before.
I just heard it today.
I don't believe that, though.
Yeah, we'll have to go and observe some and see what happens.
I'm skeptical, man. Big thank you to Mr. Philip Naiman for letting us hang out once again. It's always a pleasure making it down to sunny California to talk about everything that we do here on the Firing Line Radio Show. Check out rexreviews.org, rexdefense.com, TiborasaurusRex on YouTube to find out more about what we do. And we look forward to hanging out with you guys in February in Rancho Cucamonga. And a big thank you to all you folks for hanging out with us today. And with any luck, we'll be back sometime in the future to do it all again. And happy holidays, guys. Whatever flavor it is that you like to celebrate, make it a good one. Spend it with your family, friends, and loved ones, and just savor it.
Amen. God bless everyone.
On behalf of Casey Day and TiborasaurusRex, I'm Lou McCoy. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Firing Line Radio Show. Take care of yourselves and those you love, and we'll catch you next time.
Angels from the realms of glory, wing your flight o'er all
The Firing Line Radio Show has been brought to you by Bullseye Sports in Riverside, the Riverside Indoor Shooting Range, CCW Safe, Maupin Financial Advisors, Cutting Edge Bullets for when you care enough to send the very best, Prado Olympic Shooting Park in Chino, and Vortex Optics. Vortex, the force of optics.